I think it's important to talk about the direct aftermath of being in an abusive relationship, and also then where, with the right support, you can end up. So directly after my abusive relationship, I've talked already about how an abusive relationship is akin to almost a drug addiction, in that you keep going back for your high, and the only person who can give you that high is your abuser. And when you inevitably leave an abusive relationship, similarly to any relationship, there is some form of low. So some people don't think it doesn't make sense to leave an abusive relationship and feel sad about it because you're free, but you do. You've lost connections, you've lost time, you've lost effort in that relationship, and you may have lost a lot more on a practical level as well. So there is a huge low, and then the only person who can give you the high is suddenly not there anymore. And the way an abusive relationship works, or the nature of an abusive relationship, is that you're so used to living in highs and lows for the entire of the relationship that you actually continue those patterns of behaviour after the abusive relationship, or I did anyway. So I would find myself sort of almost showing abusive characteristics myself to other people, because that's all I knew, was how to live in these extreme highs and these extreme lows, and I didn't really know anything else. So I spent quite a long time after the abusive relationship going through that. I'd go out, I'd have a really good time with friends, I'd go out drinking, and then I'd be walking home with no shoes on in the middle of the street. And then followed that, I'd feel really bad about myself and my self-esteem, and I'd feel really low, to the point where I actually did take an overdose and was in hospital. I don't talk about that very regularly because it's something that I'm just so glad that I recovered from it, and I'm okay, and I'm here to tell my story and here to live the life that I've got now. But that's how dangerous not just the abusive relationship can be, but also the aftermath and the things and feelings that you have to deal with and experience after the relationship, which are really damaging. So I was in a really tricky place, and it took me a while to start trusting people again, even people who were around me, family, friends, people that I hadn't had contact with during the abusive relationship because those ties had been cut. It was hard to trust the people coming back into my life. And there was such a lack of understanding. And even now, people will say to me, oh, he doesn't still scare you when you see him, does he? Oh, he's been years, he can't still have a hold on you. But it stays with you for the rest of your life, and you might be able to live with it and cope with it and be absolutely fine. But it's still there, somewhere in your depths of your past is this part of you and this life that you experience, which never quite goes away. And things can trigger it quite easily and quite quickly. So anyway, what got me past all of that is I went to counselling. I saw a counsellor, and she was absolutely brilliant. She recognised the patterns and behaviours that I was displaying after an abusive relationship, helped talk me through them, helped me find myself again, which was great. And also Women's Aid. I've talked about the Freedom programme that they offer there, which is absolutely brilliant. But more than the programmes, I just found having somebody there who understood was key, and could talk me through the feelings I was having, let me know that it was completely normal, let me know that my behaviour coming out of the relationship was completely normal, and letting me explore me and find myself. For example, when I was in an abusive relationship, we didn't have cheese in the house because he didn't like cheese. I love cheese, and now I get to eat cheese. It's great. And but then you don't know that, and I would have these characteristics which were almost his, and his interests and his characteristics and things that he would do, which I was now doing because I'd just done it for so long and become this completely different person. So they help you find yourself and find your feet and know who you are again. And when I got to that point, I was fortunate enough to meet a new man who are now married, and he's brilliant, and he was very patient with me and completely different to anything I'd experienced in my abusive relationship. It took me a while to trust him, but he was ready to wait and let me find my own way in that relationship with him, and let me make my own choices in that relationship and just be myself. And it's so refreshing to be in a relationship now with somebody who lets me do that, who just lets me be completely myself. And what helped is that he knew people who had also been, family members of his who had also been in abusive relationships. Theirs were physical, mine was not. Mine was more emotional, but he understood the feelings and he understood a lot of the actions that I was displaying. And I can't thank him enough for sort of sticking by me and helping me guide me through that as well. So my life has completely changed. I would never have been able to do it without the relevant support of the right people. And when I say right people, people who actually understand. So don't be afraid to talk to us. Don't be afraid to reach out.